all their step-down generators, because they had the old 1970s step-down generators in the walls of the building, that doubled the world concentration of dioxins and dibenzofurans that literally put the world on chemotherapy and caused birth defects like you wouldn't believe. And there's no protection from the rescue workers. I've had Lieutenant Keegan on my program numerous times. He'll be back on probably in the next week or two. The New York Rescue Workers Detox Program. People have no idea, 50,000 workers exposed to this, 1.5 million South Manhattanites, and that doesn't include the people across the other side of the river. Thousands upon countless thousands of tons of glass particles inhaled, heavy metals, chemicals. And when those buildings exploded, the reason why paper wasn't burned, paramagnetics. Paper has no water. The magnetic pulse from the EMF of the bombs went right through it. It vaporized the people and it turned them into ashes instantly in 100,000ths of a second. You have to know that people that are willing to kill 3,000 citizens and have hundreds and hundreds die of cancers that only, and I know because I worked at the Savannah River, took care of employees at Savannah River nuclear plant and Rocky Flats, only occur with exposure to radioisotopes. And we're about to emerge from the womb or the crib of civilization. And the reason why there's so much ET activity and there's so much demonic activity is because guess what? They're the same. I call them IFEs, identified fiendish extraterrestrials. Yes, there are good ones, but just like it says in the Bible, you need to have discernment. I strongly disagree with the approach of those that say, well, if we're not dead yet, they must be good, like Stephen Greer. Excuse me, I got a lot of knowledge, some I can't tell you today, but let me tell you, I know a lot of people very, very deep in this organization in terms of what they're doing, including one of the senior flight engineers that takes care of our Aurora space fleet out of central Germany in the Black Forest. So this is not made up. What Richard Dolan's telling you is only the tiny slice of the tip of the iceberg of how bad it is. It is orders of magnitude worse than the darkest nightmare and movie you've ever seen as the reality of what's really going on. Well, can you believe the whole universe itself, when you see the vastness of the universe I showed you there, with hundreds of billions of galaxies, that literally our whole universe is an elemental particle and yet a larger universe. Can you believe that? Scientists have proven that that's probably the case. Okay? And if anybody's taken their children to see Horton, here's a Who, which came out this year, you have to get in touch with the spirit of the I Am. That means our Creator, because Horton, which is like the representation of the Creator, here's a Who, man. In other words, we're starting to get to the point where we can understand the nature of what we are and the nature of our universe and the fact that we are a large S son or large D daughter of the Most High God. That's why there's so much interest in us, because of not what we are, just like a fetus, but what we're going to be. All man's challenges on earth, whether it's the educational system, the medical, I can tell you, having spent a third of a century in medicine, if you think the political system is corrupt, the medical system is 1,000 times more corrupt, and there's a body count as a result of it. Just look at Bextra, Vioxx, and Celebrex. Look at electroshock. Look at surgery for cancer that has no basis in medical activity, or radiation therapy. Look at the suppression of electromagnetic technologies that occurred with the American Murder Association. You got that, right? All of mankind's challenges on earth come from ignorance of the nature of our being and from the total understanding of now our universal timeline, what's going on, and how we corporately, the greatest sins aren't just the ones we do, but the ones we permit. Like when people, and I can tell you this, and whether you're pro-life or not, you have to understand that abortion is the issue of our time. In my book, Abortion Armageddon, if you read this when it comes out again this fall and don't understand it, you will not understand this is the basis behind why they have super soldier programs and chimeric programs with these ETs to create hybrids that are part human and part not. And if you don't understand that most of the abortions in the world are for females, 97% of the abortions on earth are for females, it's all designed. In fact, the template for the super soldier is not male, by the way. It's a female with genes imported from jackals to make them 12 times stronger, other genes from other animals to give them supersight and reflexes, able to carry a 300-pound backpack, run up to 30 miles an hour, jump 25 to 50 feet, and not eat or sleep for a week. Now, I learned this not secondhand, but firsthand when they tried to recruit me in 1977 to UCLA VA Wadsworth Hospital when I wanted to do research on multiple sclerosis as a PhD neurology resident under Wallace Tortolot. So what I'm telling you here today may seem very fantastical, but it's not because I read it, it's because I lived it. I'm telling you right now, we're in the grip of something so evil you can't imagine it. You can't imagine it. And let me tell you, if you don't believe in a God, you better get down on your face and start crying out and hoping he can touch you and tell you, because we are in such a grip of evil you can't even imagine. When you see trillions of dollars disappearing, they kind of make a joke out of it. When you see thousands of civilians die in buildings that literally were vaporized and turned into an atomic vapor in a thousandth of a second. Let me tell you, as a chemist as well, thermate or superthermate will not do that. Neither will star-based weapons. I was a doctor for directed energy weapons and U.S. Space Command, Strategic Defense, and Star Wars, and I can tell you without any doubt whatsoever, the only thing that can take that down were what I was told in Oklahoma City by one of the special op delta agents that told me personally, face to face, and he got court-martialed afterward, and I got fired in death threats, fourth-generation micronukes. Okay? Take it to the bank. If anybody wants to argue with me on it, they're going to lose, and I'm going to take them down hard. Because ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is not just a personal viewpoint that you can kind of say. It has to be based on science, logic, and you have to have two witnesses. The witness of your intellect, and God gave us a brain to think, and he gave us a spirit to pray and say, God, Father, is this right? And if it is, you better act on it, because our society is in the grips of a plan to reduce the human population to under 500 million. A few months ago, Ted Turner came on the air and said he'd rather it be down to about 235 million. Okay? And if you don't realize how advanced this plan is, listen to the people that talk about people like Billy Meyer. And let me tell you, and I don't mind going after people when I know what they're saying is total disinformation. This Billy Meyer is disinformation, and I'll tell you why. Not only can you go check out his facts, but you look at a few of the main assertions, even though it goes back 70 years. The first one is he wants to reduce the human population to 500 million because the Pleiaren came from another dimension, traveled more than 40 light years, and have engineered Earth in the past. And they're saying specifically that if the Earth is going to survive, we have to reduce it. Hogwash. There's 31,000 scientists that said, and the carbonazis are trying to tell us, that carbon dioxide is the cause. So when you breathe out, or we have what we call baby emissions, you're killing the planet. No, we have helium-3 mining operations on the moon. We've had a colony on the Mars for decades. We've been on basically every planet in the solar system. We're about to take out of service the Aurora space fleets, which Gary McKinnon is going to be extradited and go to prison for up to 8 or more decades. This is not just because he upset them. It's because he disclosed information they don't want you to know. And this is important that you know it, because it's not just your future, it's the destiny of mankind. They're trying to cut us off. Now, next month I speak at the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine in Washington, D.C. And I've been asked to come down and work with Dr. David Steenblock in doing research on stem cells. Not the unethical embryos, but your stem cells in your own body to activate them, or umbilical cord stem cells to regenerate your organs and heal. We have 7 technologies I'm going to review. The lecture is called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The good is we're on the crossroads, just like the guy that wanted to learn how to play the guitar like the devil. So you met him on the road down, I think it's in Alabama, right? Well, we can either learn to be spirit men, I call it homo luminous, or we can start dying in it as embryos, never develop properly, be sick early on, or we can be dying at 10 or 12. Does somebody have a radio on? I hear a radio. Yeah. So we can either be sick and dying at 10 or 12 years of age and dead at 20 or 30, or we can be living for centuries or literally indefinitely. What's your choice? Did you know that I already have a lot of technologies already that I talk about regularly on my website and my show that could extend your lifespan at least 25 to 50% today? Do you know that? And they don't want you to know this. That's why these globalists want to bring all these technologies just for themselves while they cull the population. So they want to bring out a global cataclysm. They want to have that bottom 100 million die, and they want us to not do something about it. With the price of food right now, between now and the fall, it is very likely that up to 100 million of the human family will die of starvation. And I can tell you without any doubt, the earthquake in China was a geotectonic weapon. I was taught directly by an NSA agent, and I know exactly how it works. Each of the tectonic plates vibrates at a frequency based on harmonics. They pump in the energy at a specific harmonic frequency. The crystals of the rocks vibrate based on that energy that's pumped into the ionosphere. And it reaches what's called a piezoelectric slip threshold. And when it reaches enough gigawatts of energy, the plates slip and you have a major earthquake that killed 120,000 and put at risk 2 million Chinese. The same way they can move weather systems like Katrina. We have space-based photographs that show that they moved a trans-dimensional vortex of energy in the ionosphere to pull in storm cells 10 days before 9/11 directly over Louisiana. And there was another force, by the way, that moved it off that wasn't our government. Okay? So we're not alone. That same weapon was almost certainly used to knock the rice bowl out of Myanmar and take out of the market 220 million tons of rice. And I add to that speculation and regulations where the Japanese have to keep their rice so it goes bad and they feed it to animals rather than people, or they just destroy it. They've done this on purpose by regulation, by weather warfare, and they're getting ready to finally do what I call the hard kill. They're ready for it now. So you have to understand that. The illuminated lights of the spirit of the great I am, that's what you are. We're the Illuminati. We're the ones that should have the light of the spirit of the Creator in us. They call themselves the Illuminati. They're just darkness. And darkness is not the opposite of light. It's the absence of it. Understand that. And that's why when I hear people that say, well, they're a Mason, they're a knight. There's a few key words you need to know. If someone says, I'm a knight, they are a master of light and darkness, doing both good and evil. And guess what? That's the definition, taking from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, is to decide for yourself what is right. And as it says in the book of Genesis, at the time of Noah, and it will be in the time of the end, they decided what was right in their own eyes. I'm sure George Bush and Dick Cheney think it's right, because if you hear the rest of my lecture, you'll know why they think in their foolish, evil, twisted minds what they're doing is right, to call the human population and build underground cities and off-world facilities. Well, the universe is a plasma universe. And if you understand the most powerful force in the universe in terms of the physical universe is a plasma physics. Now, to describe our galaxy is a spinning. Why does it spin? It spins because in the center of our galaxy is a black hole, a giant black hole, that's between 2 and 3 trillion suns mass. By the way, the symbol for the black sun is a swastika. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. And it's a sacred symbol by these high-level Illuminati that goes way back, long, long ago, many thousands, tens of thousands of years. It's something that only the adepts of the secret societies know this. The first symbol in temples on Earth that are historically recorded was in Delhi, India, 5,500 years ago by dating, was a swastika. So you have to understand that the time-space vortex of our galaxy basically is, it has a jet of plasma that shoots out, drives the nuclear reactions in all the suns like Christmas lights on a tree, right? And then even the spinning vortex of energy in our sun interlocks like gears with the vortex of the magma that moves the rivers underneath the crust of the Earth. And that magnetic energy is translated to make our electrons jump in and out to make our chemical reactions. So if you put a mu metal box around your body, you'll be dead in an hour to 2 hours. No magnetic field from Earth, you're dead. No chemical reactions, no enzymes, you die.